Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander.
And welcome to another episode of our card spotlight series in which I highlight a card that I think should see more play in Commander. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Replication Technique. For 4 colorless and 1 blue, it's a sorcery with Demonstrate, which means when you cast a spell you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for their copies and create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control. So this card has a ton of instances of the word copy on it, but what exactly does it do? Well, basically you're going to cast a spell, choose an opponent, they're going to get a token that's a copy of something they control, and then you're going to get 2 copies of something you control. That is already very powerful. 5 mana to get 2 copies of 2 of your permanents is great, and as with the other Demonstrate cards, you can always use this politically to target the weaker player at the table to give them something and help them to catch back up into the game, or choose somebody who doesn't have that many scary permanents anyway, and at that point it's all upside for you. You're going to get to copy 2 of your best things or copy your best thing twice, which as I'll mention in a moment can sometimes be really insane, and one of your opponents is going to get something, but probably they're not going to be able to use it as well as you. That's the ideal case for this card, and that happens most of the time. Most of the time there will be someone in play who doesn't have as many good things to copy, and that's the person you're going to be targeting. What makes this card stand out over other copy effects is the fact that it can copy any permanent you control. There really aren't that many effects that create token copies of things other than creatures, and this being one of them lends itself to all sorts of really cool shenanigans. You can copy your Swarm Intelligence twice, which as you can imagine is pretty insane, and then suddenly you're going to be getting 3 extra spells every time you cast any instant or sorcery, which should end the game insanely quickly. That's one of my favorite things to do with this, but it is by no means the only one. There are so many cool and interesting things that you can copy that aren't creatures. Getting multiple instances of anything with a triggered effect on it can really allow you to go off, because suddenly you have exponentially more triggers to work with, which can make things go very crazily out of hand for you super quickly. It works very well in decks like Spellslinger decks that want to have certain key permanents that trigger whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. Stormkiln Artist is obviously another great one to copy with this, because having 3 copies of that basically makes all of your spells close to free and you can just kind of go off. But outside of Spellslinger decks, it also has very interesting uses. You can play it in a deck with a lot of good ETB creatures and then suddenly get 2 copies of any ETB. That's a very decent use for this. And in a blue-white blink deck, for example, it's still a perfectly serviceable card by giving you extra copies of your ETB triggers. I particularly like it in Brudiclad because you can do some insane things with Brudiclad as long as you have token copies of things. And this, being one of the few things that allows you to copy non-creatures, means that with Brudiclad you can suddenly have an entire board of Swarm Intelligences or something like that, which just is absolutely insane and leads to completely crazy mad scientist plays that just end the game on the spot. This is just a really cool and interesting card that slots into a lot of decks, and I really like Demonstrate. It's one of my favorite mechanics from the last few years, and I really hope they bring it back in a new cycle in an upcoming Commander set, because it's such a fantastic mechanic. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!